Let's just do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do it. Hello and welcome to the Part-Time Gamers, game podcast for people with full-time lives. I'm your host Cyranex, and I am joined by my good friends Gristle and 9 of 12. Well, after probably what has been the worst customer service experience I've had in my life, we are finally back. Oh, after I think we missed at least two or at least one show. I know for sure. I think maybe even more.
I think it was 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2 as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I think we were supposed to record last week, and I missed that one. We were supposed to record 2 weeks before that, and I missed that one as well. So yeah, this is supposed to be one of our off weeks, but we're recording today just to try to catch up a little bit because we're behind on a couple episodes. So
through no fault of our own.
What's that? Yeah.
Through no fault of our own.
Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of. The last couple of weeks have been really stupid. I think I mentioned on the last episode almost a month ago that I was moving, and that after that show I would be recording in my new house, well, our rental house, which is the case. We moved in like that weekend, and yeah, Comcast was getting the burp out early. Comcast was, for whatever reason, completely unable to get us internet for 3 weeks. Apparently one of the previous tenants just didn't pay their bills, and they had put a collection hold on the house. And part of that process was also physically cutting the cable at the pole. So it took them...
Wow, I don't understand.
Yeah,
putting the hold on the house, for one,
right,
is outrageous.
Yeah, considering that the last bill that was overdue was from 2010. So the hold had been on this house for 7 years, and it took them 2 weeks just to take the hold off the house. And then,
well, that's outrageous.
Yeah, because everyone that I called said, yeah, it should be done like, at the longest 48 hours, and it took 2 weeks. And mind you, I was calling them pretty much every day, telling them this, almost for those 2 weeks. Right. It was completely ridiculous.
Right? Like, I'm trying to give you money, people.
Yeah, exactly.
Respond to that.
Also, like, cutting the cable, that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
That's insane. Why would you do that? I don't understand why you would, like, physically cut the cable, because you should just be able to deny service to the house. It makes no sense to go out there and actually cut the cable.
Yeah, it was an ordeal. But they were finally able to remove the hold from the house. And then they had scheduled a technician to come out the next day, which would have been that Friday, and didn't show up. Called them, had been rescheduled to Saturday. That one got rescheduled to Monday. That one got rescheduled to Wednesday. That one got rescheduled to Friday. And so, yeah, my appointment got rescheduled like 4 or 5 times without them ever calling me, mind you. I called them, and they're just like, oh yeah, it's rescheduled and everything. So, finally, I got a hold of someone like last week who got me an appointment, sent me a confirmation number and everything. Finally got the call back, and all that jazz. And finally they came in that next day, and everything's been working great since then. But
finally.
Yeah, it took 3 weeks.
That's better.
All right, looks like we got Zach back.
That was weird.
Yeah, I blame the schools.
That one too. I blame Comcast.
Yeah, they're just going to be the scapegoat from now on. But
yeah, I think so.
So that's the reason why there's been so much silence the last like month or so, is because I have not had any form of internet until last week. But other than that, got everything moved into the house. Actually built my own computer desk because I wanted a new desk, and it cost like $30 for all the materials.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I still have to cut my previous desk in half and put the drawers underneath the right side of the desk I have now. But yeah, I've been doing some customization to this desk too, which is really nice. I have like my 3 audio inputs like directly into the front board of the desk. So if I need to switch my headphones, I can just do it right here.
That's cool.
Actually,
You're fancy.
Yeah. Well, considering the fact that this whole thing is made out of like 2x4s and MDF, it's not actually fancy at all. But
hey,
but thanks anyways.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You're still building something with your own 2 hands.
Yeah. But yeah. So since I haven't had much internet, gaming front's been kind of slow. But yeah. So how has the last month been for you guys?
Busy.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's been busy. I feel like even if you had internet, I don't even know if I would have been able to record. I might have been able to get one show, but it's been nonstop. We've got events that we're taking the kids to, and I've got midterms and studying and tests and all kinds of crazy, insane stuff. Plus, this week my work schedule has changed the entire week because everybody's on spring break at the law school where I work. So, like, I have to be either late or at different times. It's a mess. It's all over the place. So, yeah, I haven't had a lot of time for gaming either. But like I mentioned before we started recording, or maybe just as you started recording, I did play some Deus Ex Mankind Divided. I have been playing that a little bit, and it's been pretty good, but I haven't really had a chance to like super dive into it. So
yeah,
I've been, I don't know, doing a lot of stuff. Getting ready for Nerdtacular. I booked a room for the Jen and I.
Yeah,
we're going to that in June. I'm pretty excited.
Man,
and
I've wanted to go to Nerdtacular ever since I started listening to TMS, and there's no way I'd be able to afford it. Plus, the tickets disappeared almost instantly.
They did, and then he released a second round, and that's when I got them.
Yeah.
So I like was doing that, waiting at my keyboard. Come on, and I managed to snag a couple for Jen and I, and then we're splitting the room. I took basically, like, my husband had gotten a bonus, and he spent it. He's got to go on a business trip. So I had to buy his plane ticket and then wait to get reimbursed, and then use the money to book my room, and then he'll get reimbursed when he gets back for expenses from his trip. So it's sitting in PayPal, and then when he gets reimbursed from that after his trip, I'll be able to book my flight to. So it's just like this one little rotating pool of money.
Oh, yeah,
man.
But it's letting me pull it off. What else? Trying to sell some stuff, make dice pouches and stuff. My son is having trouble paying his college bills, so I've been taking him food and trying to sell his comics and stuff. Pokemon Go had a big update, and so I've been running around the last couple of days, hatching eggs and catching the new things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did some archaeology for a mount in World of Warcraft, and I've been playing some heroes, although I'm like still 6 games shy of earning that mount. I'm still hooked on some mobile games from when I was sick all of January. Like, holy cow. Dragon Soul I've been playing a long time, but there's this Kubo game. It's based on that Kubo and the Two Strings movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that, and Gummy Drop, which is just, blip, blip, blip stuff reward. And then Letter Club, which Scott Johnson got me hooked on. So yeah, a little too many mobile games. I gotta get off my couch and go do actual things.
Yeah, you gotta get off your couch and go to your computer and play games there.
Well, and chase after my kids. My kids, both of my younger boys, are so behind in their schoolwork. and I get emails from the teachers every day, and they have this online system where I'm supposed to be able to see everything that's got the worst UI in the world, and it's not updated right, and it'll say they have zeros and they don't, and then sometimes they do and they just lie because the system is wrong often enough that I can't catch them in time.
Yeah, we're noticing that too, because we've got the same thing for Quinn. He's in middle school, and sometimes it's just like random zeros on stuff, and sometimes it's because he's not turning stuff in, but sometimes it is the system that it's just not updating, and we have no idea why. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, and it's a new system this year, and instead of all the teachers using it in a uniform fashion, like some teachers decide to put their homework in a different part of it. Like really,
just to be special.
Yeah. So, and I'm not a helicopter parent, but my kids are both failing school badly.
Right.
At this point, and it's like, do I have to like go to school and sit with them? I don't know. That's a big source of stress in my life right now.
Yeah, that's understandable. Fortunately, at least for me, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I know in a couple of years I'll be having to contend with that as well.
Well, they were good. I was spoiled by my first one. My oldest boy was like, he had a short phase of not caring about school, but then he just like something clicked. Something clicked and became a great student and still is. So, and also I'm developing a game.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah, there's this really cool tabletop game I love. It's called Abstracts, and like no one's ever heard of it. It came out. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't find a copy of it anymore. My friend brings it over and we play it, but you can't get it. And there are some things in it that are sort of dated, so it could really use some update as far as things on the cards that refer to things like, the I Love Lucy show or some shit.
Sure.
It could definitely use some updating. So I want to recreate this game, just something using the same concept, but make new cards. And I had to dig and dig and dig. I found the author through the copyright database.
Ooh.
But I found there was an email I got through My Life, but I haven't been able to reach him. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to Buckeye Fitzy and try to get some legal advice before I steal this game. But I mean, it's a recreation. It's just the basic concept is what I want to use, where like you have a team and you have to make them guess what the thing is on your card, but you can only use certain types of references. Like it's kind of like a train of thought, abstract thinking puzzle type thing.
Huh. Yeah. So it's like a board game kind of deal. Not
well,
like
it's all cards.
RPG kind of deal.
It's cards.
Okay. It's a card game.
Yeah.
So you draw games and try to guess things,
Yeah.
And Zach, he's back.
I never left.
That was
okay.
Anyway, one other random little tidbit that we found out within the last month or so is I think I might have mentioned that my wife is pregnant again. So, but we finally found out whether or not we're having a boy or a girl, and I was. Yeah, I'm going to be incredibly outnumbered now because we're apparently having another girl. Which is a little bit more cost effective at this point because we already have a bunch of girls' clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
So our daughter is going to be getting a lot of hand-me-downs, and so
that's good. That's real good.
Yeah,
that worked out well. I had 3 boys, and it's funny you say that about being outnumbered because my youngest did that when we got pets. Because our cats and dogs are mostly girls, and he'll tell people like, well, yeah, we had to get a girl dog because mom was so outnumbered.
All right, but we were kind of incorporating a little bit of our water cooler talk into that top of the show stuff too. Like you mentioned the Pokemon update, which I still barely able to get.
But this is different.
Well, yeah, that's right, because the article here you have here's how Pokemon Go is celebrating Pokemon Day. What is Pokemon Day?
Yeah, explain that.
Okay, Pokemon Day is February 27th. It's the 21st anniversary of the series that debuted in Japan in 1996.
That I did not know.
So
I didn't either.
neither did I, but now we all know. The more you
Knowing
know.
is half the battle.
Yeah.
So to celebrate Pokemon Day, Niantic is holding an event in Pokemon Go. Starting on the 26th, every Pikachu that players encounter in the game will be wearing a festive party hat. So kind of like, at Christmas, he has a little Santa hat. And there's no pictures yet available, but if you catch Pikachu during the event, you get to keep the party hat forever.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, so I assume it's like with the Santa hats, it also kept it when you evolved to Raichu.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So it'll probably do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The event ends on March 6th. And that's really it, I think. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
A lot of information yet. I'm hoping they do things like have extra drops and stuff like they did during the other events.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people playing now since they released those new 80 Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a group of mystics in the cemetery here today, and I think this is the first time I've ever seen us get a gym to 10, and then the other nearby gym, like it was at 5 when I left. I mean, it was weird. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the mystics around here all tend to be, working type people. So Valor, always has all the gyms, and man, Mystic really came out today. So that was exciting. I actually met some people face to face and added them to our little Facebook group.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool that game still has so much life to it. I mean, I haven't touched it in so long, but actually, I did pick it up like a couple days ago, and I was like, "What the heck is it?" Then there are all these weird Pokemon running around all of a sudden. I was like, "Okay, I might as well catch these. I've never seen these before."
Oh, and it's exciting to see those little shadows again in your nearby. That hasn't happened in so long, and it's good timing, I think, because the weather is getting better. So, I mean, not only the new Pokemon, but people are going out and meeting each other face to face, which is really one of the best things about the game in the first place.
I think that was like one of their whole goals. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I still would like to get a new phone so I can actually get it to work properly.
You do need a new phone.
Yeah, but as for me, a couple of I actually have a small list of things that kind of interested me. I'll just write off some random stuff like Lucio was added to Overwatch, or Lucio from Overwatch was added to Heroes of the Storm as a new support character. It actually plays pretty interestingly, almost identical to how he plays in Overwatch, which was, I think they did a really good job with putting him in Heroes of the Storm. Speaking of Overwatch, they currently have an update on the public test realms, which includes some pretty big updates. Like they have a server browser where you can when you make your custom games, you can actually put them up on the server in the arcade mode, and it gives you a lot more customization options, even to the point of like, okay, you can completely turn off certain characters' abilities. That like one of the ones I saw online was it's called Ana Paintball mode, where Ana is one of the characters. She's a sniper. She only has a semi-automatic weapon. It's not a sniper rifle, and basically what you do is you turn off all of her abilities, max out the damage, and reduce their health to 0 or to like 10%. So it's basically you hit something as just a one-hit kill, but they don't have any abilities. It's just the weapon. So, and it gives you that level of customization where you can increase or decrease their health, how much damage they deal, how much damage they receive, all that jazz. So it's really cool. And they have some pretty big changes to Bastion, who has not seen a lot of play, even like just after the beta. After it officially released, he didn't see a lot of play, and now they're making a bunch of changes to him to make him a lot more viable. They
were saving it.
Yeah. For a while, I was professing my addiction to Darkest Dungeon. But
Yes.
really fell off that because I got to the really long grinding phase of the game and just kind of fell off of that. But they
Sure.
updated with what they call Radiant mode, which it doesn't really change the difficulty of the game directly, but it makes it so that you can take higher level heroes into lower level dungeons, which makes it much easier to power level heroes, and it really cuts out a lot of that grinding, which was what was getting to me. So I actually started picking that back up again, doing the Radiant mode, and it's actually still a lot of fun. And just I think earlier this week, they made some announcements for Hearthstone, which is the next standard year. They've been doing the standard years. This previous one was Year of the Kraken. Now they're going to be going into the Year of the Mammoth. And along with that is going to be some card changes. Specifically, they're going to be moving certain classic cards, which normally are always available in standard. They normally don't go away. They're going to be moving certain cards from the classic set to wild only. They're going to be moving them to what they refer to as the Hall of Fame set. So they're going to be wild only, and that's not necessarily because of their power, but well, some of them it's their power, but it's like Azure Drake, Ragnaros, Sylvanas, and a couple other class cards and stuff like that are getting moved to this Hall of Fame because they just how they were designed limited the design space they have for other cards. They were always kind of the yardstick. And by moving them to wild only, where their effects are meant to be wild, kind of randomized and stuff, it frees them up to have more design space in the standard rotation, which I think is kind of cool. But those are the ones I had, in addition to all the craziness with Comcast and all that jazz. The thing that sucked is I didn't actually even get a chance to try Lucio when he was on the public test realm. I just had to wait until he was in the game.
Yeah.
So, well, and like the only game I was able to play for a while was Darkest Dungeon because because like I couldn't access any of my Blizzard games because when I didn't have internet.
Yeah.
So I was like, what Steam games do I have? Yeah, I still have Darkest Dungeon, and I found out about the update. I actually used the 4G LTE from my phone to download the update for it, so I could try it out. Yeah.
Desperate times.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was one of the games during that whole thing. The whole time that I was trying to play and such. But anyways, I guess with that we can go ahead and moving to back to work. Oh wow! I really need to get back into practicing all these things.
It's okay. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Ready to work.
Yep. But the game that we're going to be talking about this week is another pretty good Steam game that I actually got. The copy that I got for myself was the one that I got for becoming a patron of the Geek Grills, which is This War of Mine. It is developed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how you got it?
Yeah.
I bought it. Damn.
I just think it was funny because you were giving out the codes for people who became patrons of your podcast, and that was the game I chose, and it's actually really good.
It's a great game.
Depressing.
Very
but
depressing.
It is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's developed and produced by 11-Bit Studios. And there's a couple different versions you can get depending on what platform you have it on. You can get it for $20 on Steam. And that's for Windows, Mac, and Linux. There's a $15 version for mobile for iOS and Android. And there's a $30 version for Xbox One and PS4. So you can play it on just about anything, which is really cool. I can't really attest to how different it is for each of the different versions, but you can get it on pretty much anything, which is really cool.
I would like to say while we're on that topic, I think it is very cool that they have it for all those systems, and it's insane to complain about something like that because in a world of like console exclusive releases and stuff like that, this is kind of a refreshing thing.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating to buy it for $20, $30 or whatever it is on the computer, and then play it, and then be like, well, I want to carry my game along with me on my tablet, and then I can't. I'd have to rebuy it, and that to me is unfortunate. Because I can't imagine that it has changed that much.
I really wish more companies would go to buy it once and have it on all your platforms.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get it if like you buy it once like on the computer and you can't play it, say, on your PlayStation 4. Like, I understand that because Microsoft and Sony, they're trying to make some overhead. I fully understand that. Those aren't really open source platforms, really. But like mobile devices, come on. I mean,
I can understand that. So I guess the first question to ask yourself when you're considering this game is, which platform do I want to stick to? Because like Zach just mentioned, you can't really change it to a different platform without having to rebuy the game.
Right, and then I'm assuming your saves don't transfer over or anything. I'm assuming they only work with whatever platform you buy it on. So.
Yeah. But getting into the gameplay of this, this War of Mine it's a survival strategy game. That's what it is in essence. The player controls this group of survivors that are just trying to keep surviving in this fictitious war-torn city. Although it is actually based on I don't remember what city it's actually like themed off of, but it's like a Middle Eastern war-torn area that you're trying to survive in. And
is it Middle Eastern? I thought it was like Eastern Europe. Maybe it's Middle Eastern.
I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's overseas.
Yes.
So it's in a
depending on where you're listening from. I mean, maybe we have people who are listening from the UK. And then
actually, looking on the wiki right now, it says it was inspired by the siege of Sarajevo during the Bosnian War.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a war-torn area, and there's buildings that are shelled out. There's you can constantly hear gunfire and tank fire and stuff like that in the background. So you're in a war, but unlike a lot of other war-based games, you're not a soldier. You're civilians just trying to live. But you and you're controlling this group of survivors have gotten into this big house that's your shelter. That's where your base of operations is and everything. And the game cycles through these two different phases, which are the daytime phase and the nighttime phase. During daytime, your characters are inside this shelter. It's not safe to go outside because of sniper fire and stuff like that. So you're staying in your shelter, and you're doing all of the stuff you need to do in order to survive. You're fortifying the walls, patching up holes and stuff. You're fortifying the door to keep you protected. You're building workstations, like a machine station. You're building a stove. You can build water collectors to collect rainwater from the roof, stuff like that. And
I think it's important to note that you're doing all this in like a 2D perspective too.
Yeah,
it's not like
it's
not like you're there's like a deluge of survival crafting games on Steam that are like all 3D. But this would be closer to like Terraria, but the art's way different.
Yeah. The aesthetic of the game, which actually, thank you for reminding me, that was one of the key points I wanted to point out as well. Like Zach was saying, it's all a 2D game. So you're seeing like the cross section of the house and everything with the different rooms and floors. And also, one thing that's actually really cool is just from the color palette of it, you can tell it's a very somber tone throughout the entire game. It's not really an uplifting game. I mean, you're trying to survive through war, literally.
Yeah, they really push that point.
Yeah, and it actually has this really cool, almost like charcoal drawing type aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
So it's like it has kind of, has harsh shadows and stuff like that. It's actually a really, really cool aesthetic to it. And it just conveys that tone of, just trying to survive. It's not like, it's not this very encouraging or uplifting aesthetic to it, which just adds to the game, I think. But yeah, getting back to the different phases, during the daytime, you're trying to just get all the materials set. And you're trying to craft items in order to help you survive and everything. Crafting these workstations. You can also make like an herb garden to grow some vegetables and stuff to feed your group of survivors. Every few days, there's a merchant that will stop by your front door to barter and trade with you, and also there are other survivors and neighbors who will occasionally stop by seeking help or to just stay with you. And that progresses for something like 12 hours in game, stuff like that. During the nighttime phase, you have the option of sending out one of your survivors to scavenge from a different location in the city. Locations in the game are randomized unless you play a custom game where you can actually choose which locations you want. But even then, they open up in a more or less randomized order, I believe.
Yeah.
And then also occasionally, while you're out scavenging, your shelter can be raided. There's a certain part of the time they'll say is like there's an increase in the crime rate, where your shelter will be more likely to be raided during those nights.
Yeah, it'll usually happen when there's somebody sick, lying in bed, dying, and someone else is really depressed and ready to kill themselves already, and there's nobody standing guard. That's generally what happens.
Yeah, but like fortifying
these characters are not very psychologically durable.
No,
yeah,
they are not.
Yeah, and we'll get in a little bit.
And then they have to make all these hard decisions. The radio will also give you a clue about prices and crime rates like a day ahead.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I guess I didn't listen to it very well.
But yeah, and we'll get in a lot more of this in just a little bit. But yeah, to help against those raids, you can fortify your shelter, patch up the holes, fortify the door, like I was saying. You can also post a guard during the night who can help defend against those raids as well. So that's really the cycle of how the game goes, is just alternating between these daytime and nighttime phases. But what gives it much more replayability is the fact that each character has different characteristics to them, including, how sympathetic they are to other people. So how much they're affected by, them or someone else on your group murdering or stealing from someone else. How much they're affected by that. That affects their mood. Their combat abilities. Certain characters are much better at combat than others. Carrying capacity, how much just they're able to hold when they're scavenging. There are some that have a lot. There are some that have really not a lot. And all of these characters also have a unique special ability. Like, for example, Bruno is one of the characters. He has the ability Good Cook. He's able to make food using fewer materials. That's pretty much the gist of it. But in this kind of game where you need to make everything last as long as possible, that can be literally in this game a lifesaver. So
it's a very similar mechanic to Dead of Winter in that way.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah. But the characters also have different statuses. I mentioned mood a little bit earlier. There's also, hunger, illness, tiredness, whether they're wounded and stuff like that. And they all have levels to them. And the worse these statuses are, the worse the character is able to function. So, for example, if they're particularly hungry, they actually start moving slower. They start having a lot of detriment to them. I think especially hunger just kind of compounds all the other things too. The more hungry you are, the more likely you are to be susceptible to illness, tiredness, stuff like that. And eventually you can just die of hunger. Illness, woundedness, that can cause the character to die. And if there's also a point, so I think especially with mood, that they might just potentially leave the shelter and also potentially steal supplies from you in the process. Yeah. So it's always a little tough kind of juggling all of these different statuses when you're controlling like 3 to 4, even up to 5 survivors in this one shelter. So you really have to try to ration and allocate all these things together to
It
try to
becomes
keep
a pretty
everyone.
delicate balancing act.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
especially when it's like, okay, I need to start going into these potentially dangerous locations in order to get the materials I need, which is
Right.
yeah my
And
next.
then you have like that internal argument. You're like, well, I can send this guy and he's really good with these weapons and he's got this health and he's got all this stuff, but then I have nobody left to guard,
Yeah,
leaving no options because then you go and then inevitably, there's a raid and
yeah,
it's it's
Or,
that's
like,
the whole game is just
medicine
choices.
is like really expensive, and somebody's really sick, and everybody's hungry, and you gotta like gotta decide if you're gonna
Right.
try to save them and hope you find food the next day, or just let them die and save who you can. It's
yeah,
Right. It doesn't really hold your hand in a lot of instances. Like when there's a choice to make, you a lot of times you just have to make it and live with it
yeah,
or not or die.
it took me until my second game to really catch on making them talk to each other.
Yeah, same here.
yeah,
They got to talk to each other
yeah,
until there's only one, and then for some reason they stop having a problem with that part, which is weird.
yeah.
I played the mobile. I played it on my phone and I played it on the iPad. I recommend the iPad because
Yeah, probably just more
it's
real
hard to
estate
see
in
all the
general.
dialogue when it's really small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but yeah, also kind of getting into what I was saying just a second ago with the scavenging. Early in the game, it's actually pretty easy because they'll usually open up locations that are free of threats. They're completely abandoned. You can just go in there and just loot to your heart's content.
Right.
But as the game progresses, locations open up that have dangers in them, have armed guards, they have military, they have snipers in the area, stuff like that. So you have to
Right.
worry about that. Or there's also locations where, like, there's this one location in particular where there's this old couple who just lives there. They're not going to stop you, but you have to make this moral choice of, okay, I need these supplies. Do I want to steal
Yeah.
it from them?
I totally went in there and ended up killing the old man and I stole their stuff, killed the dude, and I was like, "Oh, cool, I got this stuff." And then I go back and did not even anticipate like the psychological toll that would take on the character that I had do that. And
Yeah,
they were just devastated and they got sick and I mean, it was a
yeah,
mess.
yeah. Like the mood of the character makes a surprisingly big impact on their capabilities.
It's
Right.
so frustrating when when they get past depressed down into broken and they
Yes.
won't
Yeah,
go do anything.
Yeah. They're
yeah,
just like, I'll just lay here and die.
It really
Oh,
conveys that helplessness to you, though. It's a very effective device in the game
right.
yeah.
because you're rendered helpless as
Yes.
a player.
So yeah, it's trying to balance all these different aspects to these different characters. I think is the real selling point of this because it is a survival game, and I like the fact that it takes more into account than just the bare minimum of. I like how it adds that mood element to it. Oh, because it's not just rationing off food. It's not just making sure everyone's well rested or not
Sure.
sick and healthy like that, but also the mental health of these characters. Like you can have someone who is completely full, isn't sick, is completely well rested and not wounded at all, but they could just be so psychologically broken that it's still just basically dead weight to everyone else. I actually like
Yeah.
that how that can be a factor to it. I think that's a really
Like
cool element to
they're the
game.
character that when you're, you know, coldly watching something like, Walking Dead or some movie where there's survival stuff going on, you're gonna like get rid of them. They're baggage, man. You can tell right away. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it's got like I was mentioning earlier, it does have quite a bit of replayability to it as well because of the some of the randomized elements, like even what kind of materials you'll find at the different locations is randomized to a degree. What locations show up is randomized. What which survivors show up at your door for help is randomized as well.
Right.
So it's got a lot of replayability, and it is not an easy game, and
No.
to some degree it is pretty unforgiving because it
Yeah, and the
yeah
I was gonna say the win condition for the game is like based on a randomly predetermined ceasefire date that the characters are waiting for. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I never made it to any ceasefire date.
Yeah, when I was just doing the base versions, I never got to it either. One other thing that's kind of cool about this is it does have workshop capability.
Yeah.
So there was one workshop thing that I got that actually made it almost a little too easy to get through. So I might end up taking that back off. But yeah, that was the only time. And I think I did a custom game where I got to chose which characters I had, and I think I set it to like the lowest ceasefire date possible. So I think it's only like 30 days or something.
It's like 25, I think, is the
something
lowest,
like that.
Yeah.
So that was the only time that I was able to actually get through to the ceasefire date. But
I never came close.
Yeah, that is literally the only win condition. So
yeah, I got to 20 days on my most recent play.
Yeah,
but even I was reading earlier, even if you get to those ceasefire dates, it doesn't necessarily mean that you win. Like, you can still win, but it can be like a hollow victory depending on what happened during the game. There's random endings. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, to really have like a win and feel good about it, like a feel good ending, you have to do stuff pretty perfectly throughout the entire game.
And with so much randomness, I mean, even trying to figure out what the right order is for stuff is really tricky. And the mobile version doesn't have the workshop stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's Steam Workshop.
Right. Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's definitely, like, if it's not, like I was saying before, it's not a very uplifting game, but if you like it's a very interesting take on a survival game, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, survival games are like a dime a dozen. Like we were saying earlier, they're all over the place. So this is definitely one that stands out.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that yes, it's a survival game, but it's not a gory game. There's
no.
Yeah.
No. Right.
So.
No, I mean they refer to injuries and bleeding, when somebody's hurt, but there's not like a visual for
it's not super graphical.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that being said, I still really like the aesthetic of it as well. I think that's another big, to me, actually a big selling point of the game is just how the game looks and how it conveys that somber tone just through that.
Right.
And the pace does that too. Like, part of me, when I first was playing it, I wanted to be able to just click through, and do things. But no, you have to wait. You have to. It forces you to just watch them walk to the next objective, drag through the day. But I ended up, by the second time I went to play, I was like, no, I'm okay with that, because it keeps you engaged in the right mood of it.
Right.
Yeah. All right. But anything else you guys wanted to add to this? I think we covered most of it.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
But yeah, good game, guys. All right. On that note.
What horrible questions have you cooked up for us?
Time for our employee assessment.
To be stuff from days we didn't survive till.
or specific traits and characteristics of characters. I'm not going to remember them.
Not entirely, but there's a lot of, like, how many such and such questions on this. But you guys know the rules. Agree on the answer. We'll go from there. All right, question number 1. Which character has the most carrying capacity? Is it A, Marco, B, Boris, C, Pavel, or D, Katya?
I think it's Boris.
You think it's Boris? Yeah, that sounds fine to me. It's either Boris.
Sounds brutish.
Oh. That is correct. It is Boris. Gotta jump the gun on that one, but anyways.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, it is Boris. He has I think his unique trait is slow but steady or something like that, or slow but strong. That's what it is. So he actually moves slower than everyone else, but he has the highest carrying capacity. I think at like 17 slots.
Slow, strong.
Yeah. Question number 2. How many characters are addicted to cigarettes in this game?
Man.
Is it A, 5, B, 6, C, 7, or D, 8?
I think at least 7.
Okay.
I think. How many characters are there? Do you know off the top of your head? I can't remember.
Do not know how many there are. I don't think I've played with all of them, but
I
I've had up to 5, and I've only had 2 smokers that I remember.
Let's say 6 then.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
good with 6.
Yeah, let's say 6.
That's
Can't
incorrect.
say it.
It's 5.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
And
maybe
yeah,
we're
there are
down.
a total of, well, in the base game, there is an expansion to the game which adds a couple more characters and children and stuff like that. But in the base game, there's
Yeah, that's
12
what we
characters.
need.
Yeah, see,
More
I don't know if I can
children in
play
this
it with
depressing
kids.
environment.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Oh,
I could handle that.
No.
Oh yeah, having
that'd be
to
hard.
deal with the children in there too. Yeah, that adds a
That-
whole nother psychological element to it.
Yeah, that might trigger me.
Triage takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah. Okay, question number 3. How much sugar does it take to make moonshine when you're not using Bruno? So just the base recipe for moonshine. How much sugar does it take? Is it A1, 2, or B2, C3, or D4?
Mm,
3? Maybe. I don't
really
remember it being I remember it being not a small amount. Like you couldn't just go get a sugar and do it.
Yeah, I never built a still, so I did,
did.
buy moonshine. Boy, getting drunk was a mistake.
Yes.
Spoilers.
Yeah, not a good idea.
And Pavlo lost his shit there. I don't know. 3? I'm guessing.
Let's go with 3. It's a magic number. Magic number, Sean.
That
Damn
is
it.
incorrect. It's 4. If you have Bruno, it is 3, but the base recipe is 4.
I must have made it with Bruno because he was the dude. He was the cook guy. I was like, you're doing it all, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, question number 4. How many of the base characters are women? Is it A4, B5, C6, or D7?
Um,
4?
4? Yeah, I thought.
Yeah,
4
I think
too.
4.
That is incorrect. It is 5.
Darn
The-
it.
Sean,
So,
these number questions have got to stop, dude.
well, that's the last one, fortunately, for this one at least. So
Good.
They're just, it could have been like, which character had this trait?
You did that already. Which character had the highest carrying capacity? It was the
That's
first
not a
one, and we got it right.
trait.
That is a trait.
All right, last question. Question number 5. Which character is the only one in the base game who will not drink alcohol? Is it A. Anton,
Oh,
B. Pavel,
man.
C. Zlata, or D. Amelia?
It's not Pavel.
No, it's not. It's not Pablo. I don't even recognize some of those names. I'm gonna go with Amelia.
What were the other? Amelia, Katja.
No,
No,
Amelia.
Anton,
Zlata.
Pavel, Zlata, or Amelia?
So it's Anton, Zlata, or Amelia.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with Amelia too. I guess.
Let's just say Amelia.
It's incorrect. It's Anton. He's the
whatever. He's
yeah. Despite the fact that they don't actually show ages in their bios, he is visually looks like the oldest person, and yeah, he's the only one that in the base game that will not drink
he
alcohol.
should be the one drinking the most. Then I don't understand.
I don't understand it either, but he for whatever reason he's will not drink alcohol. Oh,
Must be
they do
religious
have
grounds.
another character in the expansion
wiser.
that doesn't drink as well, but he's the only one of the base game that will not drink alcohol. All right, I don't even remember how many of these you got right, and frankly at this point I don't really care.
1.
So
Just one.
We got
Oh.
1. We got the first
Yeah.
one right. The trait
well,
one.
we're all out of practice, so whatever.
Yeah. You can give us that. Thanks.
Yeah. I can give me that at least.
Yes.
But with that, brings us to the end of our show. So, everyone, thank you for joining us. And if you find value in the show and would like to support us, you can at patreon.com/parttimegamers or by giving us a 5-star review in iTunes. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or on Twitter at PTGcast. You can find me on Twitter at Cyrenex or on battle.net with the battle tag Cyrenex number 1996. You can find the show and the rest of my work at caffeineinducedproductions.com. Ember, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, pardon me, losing my voice. That was a big squeak. Well, I hosted trivia before this, so I was like yelling in a bar.
Oh, yeah.
I can be found at 9of12 on Twitter. That's NINEOF12. My battle tag is 9of12, number 1102. And you can hear me on Geek Grills at geekgrills.com.
And you can find Zach on battle.net.
On battle.net. No, you go ahead.
Fine.
No, you
it's
go
just
ahead.
most of the time you don't even say it yourself. So, but you have the last
Do I
couple
not?
times. But anyways, you can find Zach on battle.net with battle tag Zachaleth number 1466. And it's Zachaleth with an X because he likes to be difficult.
Yes. I do. It's true. It's a known fact.
All right, everyone.
No pretension or anything.
No.
Yeah, not pretending at all. Just, yep. I like being difficult. Okay, cool. Anyways, until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers clocking out.